In structural engineering, there is a concept known as tolerance. It dictates how much external stress a bridge or a building can absorb before it critically fails. Personal finance has the exact same physics. Unfortunately, modern consumer culture encourages us to build our financial lives with a tolerance of absolute zero. Let's revisit David and Elena. They are successful professionals in their early 30s. They have a beautiful daughter, a mortgage in a great neighborhood, and a high combined income. But they suffer from an exorbitant burn rate. Every dollar they earn is immediately deployed into lifestyle maintenance or illiquid investments. Their financial architecture relies on the dangerous assumption that the future will be perfectly predictable. But life is fundamentally chaotic. And sometimes, the universe doesn't just send one storm, it sends a hurricane. Welcome to the month of October, the month everything went wrong. The month begins with a seemingly minor inconvenience. On October 3rd, the transmission on David's commuter car completely fails on the highway. It requires a massive, complex replacement. The mechanic hands them an estimate for $3,000. Because they lack liquid cash, David is forced to put this unexpected bill on a high-interest credit card. The ambient stress in the household subtly elevates. But this is just the first domino. 9 days later, on October 12th, their 4-year-old daughter wakes up in the middle of the night with a terrifyingly high fever. They rush to the emergency room. She is diagnosed with a severe infection requiring a 3-day hospital stay. She recovers perfectly, but the financial system is ruthless. Even with health insurance, their out-of-pocket deductible results in a devastating $5,000 medical bill. Within 12 days, they have accumulated $8,000 of high-interest debt. The structural integrity of their financial bridge is groaning under the weight. Then comes October 18th, the ultimate shock. The macroeconomic environment shifts suddenly, and David's corporation announces a massive downsizing initiative. He is called into the Human Resources Office and terminated, effective immediately. The primary engine of their household income shuts down instantly. This is the phenomenon of compounding risk. Crises are rarely isolated events. They flock together. Let's watch how this month plays out in 2 alternate realities. Timeline A, the reality where David and Elena never built a financial safety net. In Timeline A, the absence of an emergency fund instantly mutates the situation from a string of bad luck into a full-scale existential crisis. With their checking account at zero and their credit cards maxed out from the car in the hospital, panic sets in. This is the brutal reality of cognitive tunneling. Their brains are flooded with cortisol. They cannot think about long-term strategy. They can only think about how to pay next week's mortgage. The psychological dividend is entirely bankrupt. Deep sleep becomes a distant memory. Out of sheer desperation, David makes devastating financial choices. He liquidates a portion of his retirement portfolio, getting hit with massive market losses and severe tax penalties. He destroys his future wealth to temporarily bandage the present. The stress infiltrates the emotional ecosystem of their home. They argue constantly. They're snapping at each other. Their daughter, absorbing the ambient anxiety, becomes withdrawn. Without a financial seatbelt, the crash didn't just total their bank account. It fractured their family dynamic. Now, let's rewind the tape. Let's go back to October 1st. But in this reality, Timeline B, David and Elena had spent the previous 18 months proactively engineering their resilience. They had ruthlessly audited their budget, slayed their ghost subscriptions, and automatically diverted cash into a tiered safety net. They sit on a fully funded 6-month emergency fund, perfectly balanced between a liquid checking account and a high-yield savings account. The exact same disaster strike. The transmission fails, the daughter goes to the hospital, David is terminated. But the outcome is a masterclass in risk management. When the $3,000 car bill arrives, David simply transfers the funds. When the hospital bill arrives, Elena pays it in full. The emergencies are immediately neutralized with liquid capital. They do not borrow a single cent at 20% interest.
When the job loss occurs, the ultimate superpower of the emergency fund deploys: optionality. David does not panic. He knows they have half a year of survival expenses secured. He does not take the very first miserable job offer that comes along just to survive. He takes a deep breath, updates his resume, and treats finding a new job as a strategic campaign, not a desperate scramble. Because they have a financial buffer, they never have to touch their investments. Their stock portfolio continues to safely compound in the background, entirely shielded from their immediate personal crisis. But most profoundly, look at the emotional ecosystem in Timeline B. David and Elena sleep through the night. They face the crisis as a unified team, not as stressed adversaries. Their daughter's childhood remains perfectly insulated. She never knows that October was the month everything went wrong. To her, it was just a month where she got sick, got better, and got to spend more time playing blocks with her dad at home. This is why we balance safety and growth. This is why we accept the cash drag of holding liquid funds. The highest return on investment in the world isn't a 10-bagger stock. It is the ability to look at a terrifying universe and say, we are going to be okay. An emergency fund is not a luxury. It is the mandatory foundation of a conscious lifestyle. It transforms life-altering catastrophes into temporary, manageable inconveniences. It protects your capital, it protects your sleep, and it fiercely protects your family. If you are currently living in Timeline A, let this story be your wake-up call. Start your ruthless audit today. Automate your savings tomorrow. Build your shield before the storm arrives. Tomorrow, we are concluding this monumental week with our special Sunday podcast episode, Safety Nets and Real-Life Risk. We will sit down with financial advisors and risk management experts to discuss cultural attitudes toward risk and hear incredible true stories of people who survived the ultimate financial shocks. You will not want to miss it. Thank you for watching Decode Advanced English on Wealth. And remember, peace of mind is the ultimate currency.